Hello, hey, it's Mike from Backyard Boat Works, and so today's project is going to be install the centerboard box, the quarter knees, and hopefully I'll get to the mast step. So let's get at it. I've got the centerboard box, and what I'm going to do is run a 3/8 radius with my router along this edge, the bottom edge, and then on the other side. So here we go. Okay, got that done, so I'm going to do a little sanding on it, and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so I've mixed up the epoxy to a that looks like peanut butter consistency, and I'm just going to start spreading it here on the center board where it's going to contact the hull. We've got that pretty well gooped up. Now the other area it's going to contact is this little notch in there, so I need to put some epoxy putty in here. I've got it pretty well buttered up, so now the little protrusions or the tendons will hopefully match. I did a dry fit, so it does fit. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is put the seat, and I've measured so that I know exactly when the seat is centered between the two ribs or the frames, and I've made some pencil marks because we want this as close to being exactly centered. And then what I'm going to do, well, let me put it on my marks. And I will put my clamp, okay, there it's clamped. And so I've got the same distance here as I do on that frame. Well, if it's in the right marks. And this, okay, so this side is also lined up. Okay, so we've got that clamped in there. So now what we want to do is center the slot of this to the slot in the seat. And that, okay, so with my fingers I can tell more by feel than what I can actually see from this angle. But that is, it's lined up with the slot on the inside of the box. And now I'm going to drop the little centerboard plug in there to hold it until it all sets up. Alright, so that's gonna, alright, so we'll just let that set overnight, and that should all hold it in place. And then tomorrow I will get out and do some more, a little bit more fillet on that and sanding it, and we'll continue on to the next project. So the next project is to install the quarter knees on the back corners of the transom. But first, what I need to do is run a 3/8 radius on the inside edge of that. So that's what we're going to do next. So I've got the quarter knees. I've clamped them in, but they're dry, and so now I'm going to remove them. I just want to make sure they're going to fit. I made some marks so I kind of know where it will fit. So now I'm going to take it out. I've mixed up some epoxy, gravy, maybe cream of wheat consistency. And so now I'm going to brush that onto where it's going to join. Lance, don't get into that way. It's not real food. Alright, so we'll put a nice liberal coating on where it's going to join. Yeah. Okay, I'm sure there will be lots of squeeze out that I'll have to clean up. That's fine. Better that than too little. And you can see the lines where I marked it, so I kind of know where it's supposed to position itself. And I will put the first clamp. Hold still. Alright, there's that clamp. Good. I'm getting lots of squeeze out. You can kind of see the squeeze out there, which means that the joint is completely filled up, which is what you want. So that's good for now. I'm going to move over to the other side. It's real slippery once you get the epoxy in there. It is, well, it's just kind of slide around. So you got to be kind of careful as you clamp it that it doesn't just continue to keep sliding to a different position. That's why making some lines is always very helpful. And I probably want to go back and double check the other one, and then I'll be double checking on this after another 5 or 10 minutes. And it looks good. All right, so I think we're good. I'll keep an eye on it for the next 20 minutes or so just to make sure that they don't move until that starts to set up. Okay, so my next project is to mount the mast box up here to the #1 frame. And as you can see, there's a little gap here, mainly because of the fillet of the epoxy is basically hitting this square edge here. So I'm going to need to sand a rounded edge. I thought about using a router, but I think sandpaper, I'm just going to sand that until the top edge of this is flush up against the frame. And again, you can see there's quite a bit of a gap there that we're going to have to deal with. So there, we'll get the sandpaper out and we'll go from there. So I've sanded on the mast step. We've rounded the edges there. So now when I do a dry fit and I've kind of made some marks, it, as you can see, it seems to go flush up against the #1 frame on both sides. And we are, just when we put the top in here, we can tell when it's supposed to be centered there. And that looks pretty good. So I think the next step, we're going to mix up some epoxy and glue that into position. Okay, so we've got the mast step. It's glued in and clamped, and I've got some nice fillets of epoxy around it. So we'll let that set till tomorrow, and then we'll add the top part to it, but I think it's looking pretty good. So this is probably a good spot to end this video. If you've enjoyed it, I would appreciate a thumbs up, and we'll catch you on the next video. Thank you.